Alright, sorry for the cut on this. I was checking the recording if it was how the sound sounded, basically. I should have done a proper test video, I guess, but yeah, what are you gonna do? Alright, so we're on chapter 4 of the text. This is very text heavy, I'm sorry. Chapter 4, End of Islam. Around 1987, the Soviets in America, looking for a compromise, secretly met to establish the Gulf Convention and attempt to send military intervention into Iran. They both established military forces that encompassed the entire border of Iran. Despite world protests, American established Jerusalem as their military base then they invaded Lebanon. Within two weeks, they had seized the capital Beirut and established martial law, purging any rebellious opposition. Then they took control over Syrian's government, getting entry into Iraq's territories. Soviets moved directly south into Iran, simultaneously suppressing the Islamic followers within, overwhelming Iran and seizing their capital, Tehran, let's say. The Velayat Faqih, those who led the Islamic Revolution, caught wind that they were being sought out for execution. However, they were locked away in secret in Iran instead. So this is, again, more of the fiction side of this. Because once again, I think the game was made in 1860 or 86. So this is definitely new material. What's happening, it's not, I don't think it happened in history. Because this leads up into the prayer and the actual events that leads up into the game itself. So these events place Iran in the threatening threat of collapsing. The Islamic Revolution met its end due to the two superpowers that then aimed to stabilize the Middle East conflict by focusing on territory rights. The two superpowers established themselves by Iran's and Iraq's territory borders, pushing both sides' military into a stalemate. Once again, the surviving fundamentalists continued the terror attacks as before. The tension between the Arabs and Persians would never be settled by the 21st century due to the ongoing conflict. So we go into chapter 5. There's like a lot of chapters in this. Chapter 5, Miracle of God. Now facing 100 years of age, Iran's Islamic Revolution leader, Ghazal, imprisoned within north of Iran in Almut, castle of the Caspian Sea short of Mount Elbrus. While Ghazal was brought to the Almut castle by the Soviet military, uncontrollable grief spread across Iran. Instead of Ghazal sobbing in his lonesome during his imprisonment, deep in the mountainside, he began his long exile, completely calm. And once again, the theme of here being exiled, the title drop. The land of Almut castle was once part of the Seljuk dynasty, a corrupted royalty brought down to the aggressive terrorism acts by their own people from their ancestral stronghold of Assassin. Yet, within this misfortune, Ghazal had a miraculous encounter which caused tears to flow. Despite the fall of the Mongolian tribes of the Middle Ages and Seljuk dynasty, Castle Almut still remained. During a night of Ramadan, a month of fasting, Ghazal prayed silently in order to keep the guards from knowing. Now, I will say this is a little odd, but that's how the text is. I never could find a good way to insert that. So, whatever. During the night of Ramadan, month of fasting, Ghazal prayed silently in order to keep the guards from knowing. The gentle moonlight filled the secluded stone cell as he chanted passages from the Quran, containing his hopes. Then he whispered prayer to the heavens to aid him through his solution. Insha Allah, if Allah wills it. Allah, my God. Could this be a message from the angel Gabriel? Honestly, loyal warriors Loyal warriors of the Golden Age, we, the human race, never once been in such trouble. What can you do to aid us? Let Islam have a bright future, assassin's warrior. Salar will lead us. Allah, please send my wish to him. So that was his prayer, which I had butchered and possibly it doesn't flow as well as I hoped. And anyways, finishing the prayer, leaving himself in a moment of silence that would be broken from a sob escaping him while the moonlight trembled over him. Sweat glistened down Ghazal's brow, dropping onto the moonlight sparkling stone floors. Time passed. Ghazal felt a presence approach him from behind. Slowly he turned his head. Within the smoky moonlight, a pitch-black shadow with slightly illuminated eyes appeared, staring at him. "Are you Ghazal?" The shadow whispered within the darkness. Ghazal, stricken with such awe that he collapsed. "Truly, I am Ghazal. Who are you?" The floating shadow stepped out, its left foot approaching and pulling out a dagger in its hand, in its right hand above Ghazal's eye. At that moment, a single beam of moonlight flashed on the dagger, reflecting into the obscurity darkness, briefly revealing the face of the intruder. He smiled as his eyes shined with striking intelligence. "I've came to help you." Suddenly, Ghazal remembered his prayer to Gabriel, giving Allah's blessing to Muhammad, and then his divine message for Gabriel to deliver. "Then you are Sadler. Is this the miracle?" The shadow, like two large wings, wrapped around Ghazal, engulfing him. Ghazal, for the second time, shed a second tear as joy filled him due to the intimate moment. His body shaken in the embrace, he entrusted the assassin's hero, Sadler, to everything. And now, more history. Let's just keep going. I think there's like 8 chapters, so bear with me. Chapter 6, The Middle Age, The Decline of Islam. Going back into history during Oriental Middle Age. In 622 CE, let's actually continue on so we can see some artwork here. In 622 CE, Muhammad established the first Islamic nation in the Arabic Peninsula, and with a combined might, moved eastward to eliminate the Sasanian Persian Empire, then captured Syria to Egypt from the Byzantine Empire, going as far as attempting to advance towards the Iberian Peninsula. By the 8th century, all this would form into a massive kingdom, resulting into the Saracen Empire. But then a feud to be the next caliphate brought rise to the Persian and Turkish Empire, tearing apart the Saracen Empire. Then the Mongolians, led by Hulagu Khan, collapsed the torn Abbasid dynasty's 500 years of rule after the Mongolian flooded through the land. There's a lot of information going on here. During the 10th century, the Abbasid dynasty had greatly oppressed the heretic Shia Muslims. The Persian Shia of the Umayyad dynasty would penetrate into Abbasid kingdom, taking over the capital Baghdad, while another group of Shias traveled eastward from Tunisia into Egypt, establishing Fatima's dynasty rule. Then the Abbasid dynasty, with expanded power and government, economy, and backed with a military consisting of Turkish slaves, overthrew the Shia Umayyad for the Persians. This led the establishment of the Orthodox nation Seljuk Empire. At last, the Egyptian Fatima dynasty opposed against the Seljuk dynasty due to both aiming to recapture the Holy Land, Jerusalem. At last, the Egyptian Fatima dynasty and the Seljuk dynasty waged war against one while Christians sent armies to recapture the Holy Land, Jerusalem, this resulting in the famed Crusades in the lands. Fear would spread throughout the Crusades. The word of assassination took meaning in Europe due to the heretic clan Hashishin that was located in the fortress Almat on Caspian coast of Mount Elbrus. This is where many assassination conspiracies against the Seljuk dynasty took place. Around this moment, the Seljuk dynasty once again pressed further opposition against the Sassanids. The talented soldier Saladin traveled to overthrow the Fatimid dynasty in order to disrupt the Crusades. This was the planned effort to expand the Seljuk dynasty. In the year 1258, Hulagu Khan of the Mongolian army suffered defeat. In that same moment, the assassins and Almat castle were completely destroyed, thus the Islamic Empire being neutralized through history. So it may seem. Make sure I'm recording. I'm still recording. Good. Alright, back to reading. Alright, last chapter. I think. I mean, there's still more to read, don't get me wrong. Chapter 7, Rebirth of Islam. Through the Middle Age kingdoms, history brings back to the Middle East revolution that shook the present world. Because of the matter of the present century Middle East crisis is the very duplication of the Middle Age kingdom's history. The ruling class fighting against the poor and the fundamentalists, which, much like the Islamic Orthodox fighting against the Islamic heretics, Iraq fighting against Iran, much like the Seljuk dynasty against the Fatimid dynasty. Or Fatimid. Two great nations invasions, much like the Crusades and Mongolian invasions. As such, the terror acts of the fundamentalists are much like the reputation of assassins. So this is sort of comparing the pattern of history, the conflict of the dynasties and the assassins in the Middle East of the 200 AD or something, is similar to the 20th century issues of the Middle East crisis and also the looming Cold War. Furthermore, tying together 700 years of history, exceeding the point of Persian of the Middle Ages, patriot young soldier Sadler, appearing in front of Exile, this soldier, earlier land Almut, or based of assassins, finest warrior. That could have been more awkward. Thus tying together 700. Oh, I just no wonder. Let's just remove that one out. I left in a old text basically. Thus tying together 700 years of history from the Golden Age Persia, a patriot young soldier Sadler appeared in front of Ghazal, the finest assassin warrior in the Almut castle from the past. Now we get to go into the character introductions, which is right here, but we'll stop recording. So, thank you for watching. Good day.